What is the story, everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. This is the live watch-along for Kilmacud Crokes versus Watty Glen in the All-Ireland Senior Club Football Championship. It's the very first watch-along I've done on the channel in 2023. I'm going to be doing one every weekend throughout the National Football League and obviously the Championship as well. Mainly looking at football matches, but I will look at a few hurling matches obviously as well. And of course, as always, before people ask, I'm not showing the game. So if people have come here to watch the game, then turn me off, delete me, get rid of me, do whatever you want, what you want with me. But the great news is the game is on TV, isn't it? It's on TG GAA. So happy days. Probably on a few dodgy boxes as well. So happy days. But anyway, we're here to watch the game, react to the game live, interact with some of you lads in the comments. Long-term subscribers will know the drill by now. A lot of you lads would have tuned into plenty of watch-alongs I done last year and obviously in 2021 as well. And for any new subscribers or anything of that nature, welcome aboard. And welcome aboard. This should be exciting stuff. And, very much looking forward to doing plenty of watch-alongs this year for Dublin games, for games that are in Division 1 in the National Football League, hurling matches, and everything else. And I think this is the first watch-along I've done for a club match as well, actually, I believe. So, very, very excited. Very, very excited indeed. Just looking at the teams there, we'll call them out. Connor Ferris in goal. We've got Mullen at cornerback, Theo Clancy in a fullback, Dan O'Brien at left cornerback, Andy McGowan, right halfback, Rory O'Carroll in at centre-back there, Aidan Jones in at left halfback, Ben Shovlin and Craig Diaz in midfield. The big news, though, is that Paul Mannion does, in fact, start. Robbie Brennan confirmed it in an interview pre-match just now on TG GAA. That is the big, big news. And you can see there, for those who are watching on TG GAA, you've got Killian O'Shea in a right half forward. Interesting that he gets the nod right there ahead of maybe Shane Horan or someone else there. But Shane Cunningham's in at centre forward. Paul Mannion's in there at left half forward. Right corner forward, Hugh Kenny. Full forward, Darren Mullen. Left corner forward, Shane Walsh. And Shane Walsh and Paul Mannion both in the same team on All-Ireland Day. Absolutely brilliant stuff right there. Just looking at the Watty Glen side. So you've Bradley in goal. Cathal Mulholland there is in at right cornerback. Dugan in a fullback. You've got Conor Carville in at left corner forward. Tiernan Flanagan right half-back, Michael Warnock at centre-back, the other Mulholland in at left half-back, Conor Glass and Emmett Bradley in midfield. I will try and get a graphic on the screen when I get a chance that actually shows the teams, but I haven't had anything, I haven't seen anything with the teams just yet. But you can see all the Dohertys are in there. Danny Talon, Conor McGuckian, Convery in there at left half forward as well. So plenty of both teams very much having their strongest players available to them, it must be said. So great to see either club with their best teams on the pitch. And very, very excited. Very, very excited. In terms of a score prediction for myself, we will get a score graphic. You'll notice the new graphics they're going to have on the screen there. You can subscribe in the top left corner. If you click that, it should work. If it doesn't, I don't know what to say. Spent a lot of time trying to make sure that button does work. So if it doesn't, it's not great. But you'll see the two club badges there as well. So we'll update that club score, the score of the match as we go along as well. For those of you who would have watched the preview show, I have gone with a scoreline prediction of 13 points. 2-11 in favour of Kilmacud Crokes. Both sides haven't conceded that much goals. Kilmacud Crokes have conceded just the last goal they conceded, as a matter of fact, was against Thomas Davis in the All-Ireland or in the Dublin Club Championship semi-finals. They conceded a goal previously against Coola in the quarterfinals, but just 2 goals conceded in the entire championship from knockout stages onwards. And I think for Watty Glen, it's something similar. I think just 1 goal conceded in knockout football from the Derry final right up until now. So that really does go to show how well defensively organised both of these two sides are. And I fully expect both sides to be very well organised. I think it will be a cagey game. I think that goes without saying, really. It's a massive occasion for both sides. Kilmacud Crokes haven't won an All-Ireland since 2009. And obviously, Watty Glen have never won an All-Ireland and are playing in their very first All-Ireland final appearance. But when you look at what happened to Crokes in the final last year, conceding that late goal from Jerome Johnson of Kilmacud, I just think there will be a bit of caginess and everything else. But in terms of a score prediction, I'm going to go, as I said there, 13 points to 11 is going to be my prediction right there and then. But for those of you who are watching live, get your predictions in. Let me know what your score prediction is or what you think is going to happen in the All-Ireland club football final, as a matter of fact. And the last club game to be played of the club season as well, because obviously we've seen all the junior finals, intermediate finals, ladies finals, camogie finals, absolutely everything. The hurling final was obviously finished up just about 20 minutes ago. Now we have the main event of the evening, and that is the great Kilmacud Crokes against the great Watty Glen. So yeah, for those of you who are tuning in, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, all the rest. Seaside Cloud says up the Royals. Fair play, man. Yeah, up the Royals is what you said, not me. But look, hopefully Meath, if they do well enough, they should have enough to stay in Division 2, I think. But who knows? Maybe they might push for more. I'm excited for the Meath Dublin game. I think it's on in around Paddy's Day as well, which is that's going to be a feisty occasion. Make no doubt about it. But yeah, 13 points to 11 is my prediction right there. Both teams just coming out onto the pitch now. Very excited to see both teams getting going. We've got Shane Walsh there doing what I just done. Take a sip of his ale water there. Hydration is key, as they say. And for Shane Walsh, he'll need as much water as possible. National anthems about to get going as well. Gavin says, God, Derry were great yesterday against Tyrone, even without Conor Glass. Yeah, Derry were very good. I watched that game as well, and I have to say, Lakeland Murray looks like a very, very good talent. He was kind of on the scene last year, but obviously Derry were minor All-Ireland champions, weren't they, a couple of years ago? You're seeing some of them now kind of on the fringes, and I do think a lot of those players will probably play under 20s this year. But yeah, Derry football are in a fantastic position. Tyrone looked very leggy, and they weren't really up for the challenge, I don't think. It's hard to know a pre-season sometimes. I never like to read too much into it. I've seen a lot of Tyrone fans getting annoyed last night and getting angry. I think at the end of the day, it is pre-season. They didn't play particularly brilliant, but there is still a lot more lads to come in there. And, I think we can only really start judging teams when it comes to first and second games of the league. But yeah, Derry are looking very strong, and you would fully expect them to, push heavy for Division 2 next year. And I really do think when Derry play Dublin as well, in what I've now heard is going to be Celtic Park, Celtic Park, Celtic Park, I think is what it's called. I think Derry could beat Dublin that day. I really do. I think it could be likely both sides of promotion wrapped up. But we are ready to go. We're just about to go for the throw-in. Just sharing this stream out on the Twitter. But yeah, both sides. Look at the men there in that throw-in. You've got Craig Diaz, you've got Conor Glass, Emmett Bradley, Watty Glen win the throw-in. Kilmacud Crokes now in possession. Right, there we go. That's that shirt. So here we go then. We're very much off and running. Kilmacud Crokes in possession early on, but lose possession. Michael Warnock on the ball. Glen looking to start fast. I think it's important for them to start fast, and that's a great pass in there. Oh, and a lovely turn, and Glen might be in with a chance here for a goal already, and they are back of the net. Look at that. Only about 35 seconds on the clock, and Watty Glen have the ball in the back of the net. What a finish that was. What a start for Watty Glen. And as we were saying, Kilmacud Crokes, that is the first goal that they have conceded since the Dublin Club Championship semi-finals. Similarly as well, Fionn Murray got that goal inside the opening couple of minutes in that day. And what a start for Watty Glen. I think it was Danny Talon who got the goal there. What a start, and what an explosive start we've had. And there's my prediction out the window. I said there'd be no goals. There you go. Just as well I'm not an expert. Crazy stuff. What a finish as well. And Kilmacud Crokes, uncharacteristically, I can't even say the word. What is going on? Completely wide open there. Very, very surprising stuff. Did not see that coming. And what a start that is for Watty Glen, getting that early goal. Brilliant stuff. Wonderfully taken finish as well. Here comes Paul Mannion on his left boot, looking to get his first score. Puts it wide. Bound to be probably a bit of rustiness there, in fairness. But yeah, look at that. Wonderful run there. Tremendous finish. I think it was Killian O'Shea on him there. Gets turned inside and out. And yeah, what a fantastic goal that was from Watty Glen. They start fast and they start with the goal that they needed, putting Kilmacud Crokes on the back foot. And here they come again, looking for the answer. Tremendous start, and you can see the Glen supporters very much on their feet, delighted. That was a tremendous goal, and Kilmacud Crokes are on the ropes a little bit here. Just what the underdogs needed is what Tom says here. Yeah, like I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't see much between the sides. I don't think Glen are massive underdogs. I just think Kilmacud Crokes are slight favourites. But yeah, another point to go with it as well. 1-1 now is the score. JMac podcast watching along there. Shout out to himself there. Some goal. Early goals are big. They certainly are. And you know, Kilmacud Crokes haven't been in this position too often. Last time they were in this position was, probably the Dublin Club final. They were a couple of points down against Na Fianna, but like it wasn't that much of a big margin. And then probably since Thomas Davis in the semi-finals. But you know, Watty Glen are by far a greater team than Thomas Davis, in my opinion. Craig Diaz there getting on the score sheet. He gets his opening score of the game, gets Kilmacud Crokes off the mark. So they needed a quick response, and they have got exactly that. Lovely finish there from Craig Diaz on his right boot, and Crokes there getting the response that they needed. You're looking fresh. No beer last night. No beer for me, my man. No beer. Dry January, all the rest. Dry-ish January is actually what I like to call it, because, you know, I never want to rule out a good night out, but not last night anyway, thankfully. Saving the cash until payday, you know yourself. But yeah, it's nice to be fresh doing one of these, because I think last year I was hungover for most of them. So, you know, I think that's the main thing this year, is if I'm doing these streams, I got to make sure I'm at least somewhat there. Never seen a more unpopular team than Kilmacud Crokes. Yeah, like I think half the people in Dublin probably even want them to lose today, to be honest with you. You know, I don't. I think it would be nice to see Diaz and Paul Mannion getting All Ireland. You know, and a few of those lads sort of get over the line. Rory O'Carroll as well. I think I think he was in the team that won the All Ireland in 2009. But you know, it'd be great to see him obviously have his day as well. But yeah, 1-1 to a point so far. Great start for Watty Glen, it must be said. They've come out of the blocks fast, and they probably will try slow the game down, I'd imagine, in these areas, and make sure that just kind of take the sting out of it. Now that they've got that lead, they probably will try slow the game down as much as possible, it must be said. But yeah, Danny Talon with the early goal, Alex Doherty with the point there for Watty Glen. So yeah, what a fantastic start it has been for them. Galway footballer Shane Walsh definitely deserves to win an All-Ireland for Crokes. Yeah, I mean, after I'm sure he grew up in Kilcare and Clonberne. He grew up dreaming of walking out on the pitch for a Dublin club and winning All-Ireland. He had posters of Johnny McGee and Ray Cosgrove in his room, I'm sure. I'm sure he did. But Danny Talon with another point there. So Glen have started well. And yeah, definitely a bit of uncertainty here for Kilmacud Crokes. They do win the kick out though, and that was important. I think you've seen Conor Glass sort of nearly getting on the end of the kick out. And there, Kilmacud Crokes getting caught again. They look a bit open here. They look very open, I have to say. And this is very uncharacteristic to the Kilmacud Crokes that we have seen so far this year. It does look like they've made a bit of a recovery, though, in fairness. And that's a great bit of work, actually, by Shane Walsh. Look at that. Shane Walsh doing the defensive work. Who would have expected to be saying that? But here they come now down the other end with Shane Cunningham. He plays the ball into Darren Mullen. I think he was in possession. And he slots it over. Fantastic. Oh, no, he puts it wide. There you go. It was actually, it was Darren Mullen. And that was a bit of a nervous wide, maybe. A bit of nerves for Kilmacud Crokes early on here. And you can see Glen going short from the kick out every time. Usually what we will see Kilmacud Crokes do, and they did this a lot in the Dublin Championship, they did it against Cairns O'Rahilly's, they will press up on those kickouts, I'd say. But they haven't really done so far, so that is a bit of a surprise. Michael Warnock, Steve Warnock's cousin, believe it or not. Yeah, you can see the resemblance, all right. You can see the resemblance, and who knows, maybe Michael Warnock might loaf the camera at full time, just like Steve Warnock did in those days, but who knows. Glen losing possession. Crokes have the ball back now, playing it around the back. Taking the sting out of Glen, but they are trying to move the ball quickly because 4 points down. We haven't seen much of Paul Mannion so far. I mean, I am surprised to see him start. I mean, I thought he would have been nearly a better option coming off the bench. Considering he hasn't played since the Dublin quarterfinals against Coola, I think it is. So, it's a big game to be involved in. But look, obviously Robbie Brennan sees him on the training pitch for the last couple of weeks, and believes he's good enough to make the start. And he's out there on the pitch, so we'll see how he does. But here comes Darren Mullen, who looks very good. He looks very lively. Crokes trying to maybe work a goal chance, but Mullen definitely pull back there. And that will be a chance for Shane Walsh probably to put this one over. Would you not have went to Croker? Miserable. I'm not going to rob the lovely Kilmacud Crokes supporters and Watty Glen supporters of a ticket. To be fair, I've been to enough Kilmacud Crokes games this year. I think I've been to 3 or 4 of them. I've had enough of them now, to be honest. So I said, I'll watch this in the comfort of my own home with the heating on and everything else. So look, I'm sure I'll be missing out, but who knows? Maybe next year we'll watch them in the final again, because they probably will be thereabouts again next year, I'm sure. Oh, Shane Walsh hasn't got a hold of that at all. He's dropped it short, and Kilmacud Crokes a bit nervous here. I think they look a little bit nervous. Heavy legs, pins and needles in the arms, maybe. It's just not really it's not really flown for Kilmacud Crokes here so far, it has to be said. That was a really uncharacteristic miss from Shane Walsh there. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him miss an opportunity like that before. You think of Darragh Mullen, who missed his opportunity a couple of minutes previously as well. So, yeah, Crokes have really started slowly here. And, yeah, a slow start here. It must be said from Kilmacud Crokes. And Glen 1-2 early on. 4 points up in possession here as well. And, yeah, surprising stuff from Kilmacud Crokes. But obviously still a long way to go. So we won't rule them out. Can Cavan win Ulster this year? Who knows? I mean, you have to get through Antrim. You'll have to get through Antrim again, maybe in the semi-finals or finals or something like that. But yeah, no, if you do come up against Antrim, I think I'll back you this time. But who knows? You have a good record against Armagh. I think you play them, don't you, in the quarterfinals? So we'll have to see what happens there. There's Paul Mannion. Is that over the bar? It's wide. So I think that's 4 wides now for Kilmacud Crokes in the opening 15 minutes. They have started very, very slow. And the Kilmacud Crokes fans watching on, on the sidelines, definitely looking a little bit nervous. Robbie Brennan watching on thinking, what is going on here? After 15 minutes, Crokes could have been in front or could have been level if they had have put those points over the bar, but instead find themselves 4 points adrift. And we haven't had a score in about 5 minutes or so. And Crokes are getting the chances. They are getting the opportunities, which is good. But, it's about converting those opportunities at the end of the day. And we haven't really seen Crokes do that so far. Here they come forward now with Dan O'Brien in possession. Can they get themselves a score? He's venturing forward. Darragh Mullen, who's been very involved here so far for Kilmacud Crokes, but won himself a free, obviously gets himself a chance as well. Craig Diaz, the only scorer so far for Kilmacud Crokes. None of the forwards have scored so far. This will be a test of resolve for Kilmacud Crokes. I mean, they've pulled out all the stops and getting Walsh into the team to, win this All-Ireland that they obviously lost last year in the final. They're playing Mannion, who may be slightly injured. They're pulling out all the stops, and here they come forward now. There's an opportunity. It's another a poor effort there again, this time from the wing-back. And, this has been a very poor start from Kilmacud Crokes, who are certainly not living up to the hype as favourites yet, it must be said. Very slow start. 10 minutes without a score there for Kilmacud Crokes. 7 minutes without a score from Watty Glen. And if Glen can take advantage, Glen need to take advantage of this period now. If they can build up a 5-6 point lead, a team like Glen with the defenders that they have, that might just be enough to potentially, hang on. And there's a score there from Emma Bradley. 1-3 to a point. And Glen are looking very, very good here, it must be said. After these early stages. And for Kilmacud Crokes, just looking at it there, 6 opportunities so far, 1 converted. Glen on the other hand side, 4 opportunities converted out of 6. Just looking at some stats there on the lovely TG Cahir. So great stuff. And here they go now. Here's a chance here for Shane Cunningham. It gets pulled down? Is that a penalty? It is. It is a penalty. And Kilmacud Crokes, just like that, they've been poor enough so far. They haven't found their shooting boots, but a ball into Shane Cunningham, the captain, gets tugged back, I think, there by, is it Cathal Mulholland, maybe? Was it inside? I think it might have just been inside. It's hard to really see from that angle, but There's no question about it. You know, it's definitely either a free or a penalty. So no complaints. It looked like it might have just been outside. Maybe it's kind of hard to tell there. But yeah, here we go. Who's up? Shane Walsh. He dropped that scoring chance. Now this is nerves right here. We've seen Kilmacud Crokes have looked a little nervous so far. You know, Walsh. Look, I mean, Walsh shouldn't have any nerves. We've seen how he performed for Galway in the All Ireland final against Kerry, but you know, he definitely dropped that chance short early on, which was uncharacteristic of him. But here he goes from the penalty spot. No mistake, comfortably beyond the goalkeeper. Kilmacud Crokes are on the board in terms of goals. Back to a 2-point game. Huge moment actually in the game, because you feel like if Kilmacud Crokes had missed that, you would have just got the feeling that maybe, just maybe, you know, it's not their day. But that's a really, really well taken penalty by Shane Walsh, and Crokes win the resulting kick out as well. They've got the momentum now behind them, and Crokes are back on. Crokes have shown up here. 1-1 to 1-3, and here goes Craig Diaz now marching forward. Doesn't really get a hold of that though, and that will go down as another wide. Shooting boots just not quite on it from Kilmacud Crokes, but they are getting chances. They are winning the ball. They're winning kickouts. They're turning over the ball. Like, they're getting in the right positions. They've created more chances, in my opinion, so far. They've probably been the slightly better side, you would say, in terms of creating chances, but it's just been that conversion that's let them down. So it's been Gavin O'Reilly says the comeback. Yeah, the comeback is very much on. You know, still early days though. Still early days. We're only 17 minutes in the first half, and obviously still a long, long way to go. And here comes it. And again, they win another kick out there. So, like, they are playing the better here, in my opinion. They just need to start converting the chances, and we know they have the players to do so. Here's Darragh Mullen. He's been fantastic so far for Kilmacud Crokes. Surely has to be involved with the Dublin footballers this year. And there's Paul Mannion getting himself involved. He hasn't scored as of yet, but he's sizing up Cathal Mulholland. Plays it back now. Crokes. Calm in possession, no immediate rush. You can see Glen in a very defensive shell, and you would expect them to be quite defensive in this game at times, especially when they do have a 2-point lead. Crokes being calm in possession here. Can they work an opening? Out wide into Darragh Mullen again. Finds a bit of space. Is that Andy McGowan getting forward? Now it's Darragh Mullen. He puts it over, and Crokes now are really starting to find a bit of momentum. That's a really, really good score there from Darragh Mullen, who started very, very well, it must be said, for Kilmacud Crokes. He gets his first score, and Crokes are back to a point. And to think, if they had been a bit more clinical with some of those chances, they'd be in front. But you do get the feeling here for Watty Graham's Glen. They just need to, you know, you can see Crokes pushing up on those kickouts. You just get the feeling that Glen need to get a hold of the ball here. They need to get a bit of possession, slow the game down as much as they can, because Crokes have got the momentum behind them right now. They really, really do. Caught well there by Ben Shovlin. And again, Crokes have won. That must be like 6 or 7 kickouts in a row now that Crokes have won. They look like they've got that sort of pre-stage nerves, or sort of early game nerves, out of their system, and they look really in business now. And here goes Craig Diaz. Crokes are winning the midfield battle so far. That's a great interception though from Watty Graham's Glen, and that's what they will do. Look like maybe Emmett Bradley getting a challenge in there, and Glen now just need to keep possession, slow it down. Don't rush the chance. Don't rush the opportunities. And, you know, sort of stem the flow of Kilmacud Crokes. But a good recovery nonetheless from from Crokes, and you do get the feeling as well that Crokes have the forwards, have the players to be winning this game. Glen strong defensively and strong in midfield. Do they have the forwards aside from Danny Talon? That's the big question. But it's been an entertaining game so far. You'd have to say after 20 minutes, I was expecting this to be a bit of a bore fest, to be honest with you. But it has been fairly entertaining. Maybe not the highest scoring points game so far, but we've gotten goals and penalty, bit of drama, all the rest. So I'm a satisfied customer so far, it must be said. And Kilmacud Crokes look as if they've turned the ball over again. Darren Mullen there doing some tracking back, getting a challenge in on Connor Glass. And here come Crokes looking to level the game up. It's been a while since Glen scored, but they do still have the 1 point advantage. And that is what matters at this moment in time. But you do get the feeling the way the game is going, it's definitely going in favour of Crokes at the moment because they're winning. They're getting a bit more turnovers in there, getting a few more challenges, and they're creating more opportunities. McGowan with the pass in there, and here they come. It's another sort of flimsy shot there. I'm not too sure who it was from, but Crokes again just being a little bit wasteful in attack, and you get the feeling if they can get that out of their system, they should win this game, but they're just being very wasteful. And here come now Watty Glen with Michael Warnock. He just runs into a wall of traffic there. I'm not too sure. Has the ref given a free? He's given a free out in the end, which is probably the right decision, actually, in fairness, because it looked like Warnock more so just ran into McGowan. Warnock is down, though, holding his head. Looks like it could be maybe a bit of an injury. Just runs straight into Dan O'Brien. I mean, I suppose it's one of them from Dan O'Brien where he knows Warnock's going to run into him. Warnock probably hasn't got his head up to actually, sort of move out of the way. So it's more of just a coming together, really. I don't think there's any free in there as such. So probably right decision maybe from the L referee. But we've got a bit of a stoppage in play, 1-3 to 1-2 for anyone who's tuning in. 14 people watching there live. If you could hit the like button and subscribe, would be very much appreciated. And let me know what you've thought of the game so far. Glen starting the way they needed to start with that early goal. Couple, point from Danny Talon, Alex Doherty obviously on the score sheet as well. Crokes have been slow to get going, but that penalty from Walsh, Darren Mullen, Craig Diaz getting on the score sheet as well, crucially important from a Kilmacud Crokes point of view. But yeah, here they come anyway. Once again, Theo Clancy on the ball, plays it into Mr. Craig Diaz. Glen have done well, defensively at times. They've been set up very well, and they've, they forced Kilmacud Crokes into missing chances or shooting kind of uncharacteristic efforts, shall we say. But you would probably say at this moment in time that, it has been Crokes that have looked to stem the flow, and that's a great bit of play there by Shane Cunningham, who puts it over the bar. Kilmacud Crokes have found the leveller, and after a slow start, we are all back square at 1-3 apiece. And you can see Crokes now starting to get into their grooves, really starting to come alive. And Glen need to start getting a few more opportunities of their own, because it is Kilmacud Crokes who are getting the chances, who are getting the opportunities. And, Glen are just struggling at times with kickouts and turnovers and everything else at this moment in the game. 5 minutes to half time. Jesus, this is flying by. Absolutely flying by. That's a poor pass there, just giving it straight back to Crokes, and Glen all of a sudden now the side that are under pressure. Tom says good call by the ref. Arms folded, barging in relation to the Michael Warnock effort. Yeah, it was the right decision in the end because he sort of just ran into Dan O'Brien there. So I think maybe the right call would have been for the referee just to throw the ball up. Because I don't think, I think it's just one of those things where Warnock just ran into him, didn't really see him, but in the end probably makes, it's not a decision that's gonna change the outcome of the game, is it? But yeah, Crokes in possession now, and the thing is now the game is level. When it was a 5-point deficit, you were kind of thinking like Glen sitting back being very defensive, it suits Glen, but now you're sort of looking at it and thinking, this game is level, and the way it's going, you would see Crokes pulling away here. Just looking at it there on TG Cahir, 59% of possession so far. No real surprises there. They have by far been the the dominant team in this match. And here goes. That's a wonderful score there. Brilliant score. I think it might have been Dan O'Brien who put that one over. And Kilmacud Crokes have taken the lead for the first time in the All-Ireland final. And I just feel like Glen, Crokes are getting a lot of chances here. They're getting a lot of opportunities and they're starting to convert them now. Whereas maybe, maybe at the start of the game they weren't. I think it was McGovern in the end who put that point over the bar. So, Crokes, they win another kick out again. Here goes Darren Mullen. All of a sudden you're looking at it and thinking, if Glen don't get a hold of this game quickly, this could actually get away from them here. And here goes Aidan McGowan racing forward. Crokes leading by a point, but they've had the majority of possession, dominating the ball. The chance creation is there, and Glen are, they're probably not getting close enough in a lot of those challenges as well, it must be said. And here goes Craig Diaz. He turns away, puts it over the bar, but I think the referee has either called it back for a free, or is he just going to allow the advantage, or what's after happening there? Diaz being pulled there from one of the Watty Glen's forwards. Probably was a foul, but I think Diaz did put that over the bar, so it would make sense just to award the point rather than having to go back and watch this foul again. But here goes. There's a Walsh or Mannion. Walsh missed one. It's Mannion. And he hits the post. So still no score for Paul Mannion. So both Shane Walsh and Paul Mannion have been a bit rusty in terms of frees in this game. And uncharacteristic. You normally consider Walsh and Mannion as two of the best free takers, place ball takers in the game. But both have missed relatively, easy chances from their point of view. Glen did march down the other end again with Michael Warnock with a surge and run, but they give the ball away once again. And here come Glen coming down the other end. But that's a brilliant challenge there by Conor Glass. Brilliant turnover. Glen need a point just to sort of swing the momentum back in their favour and at least go in a half-time level. Here they go marching forward, but that's another poor ball there. That ball into the forward line just isn't really working out. And for what must be the fourth or fifth time in a row, Glen have given away silly possession there. And Kilmacud Crokes now come down the other end. And you would have to say, if Crokes were 50% more clinical, they'd probably be 3 or 4 points up in this game. They've missed 6 or 7 chances, possibly even more in this game. I think they've 4 wides, maybe 5 wides, and another chance to hit the post, 2 or 3 other chances that were balloon shots really. So that will be the positive from a Glen point of view, is that, they aren't out of the game, but at the same time, you would also look at it and think they haven't taken full advantage. And here come Kilmacud Crokes again. Can they work a score before the end of the half? 1-4 to 1-3. I suppose it is quite low scoring for an All-Ireland final in terms of points. You would expect maybe a little bit more, but here goes Craig Diaz. And his has gone wide. Do you know what? It's probably been a poor final so far, hasn't it? It's probably been a poor game. I think Crokes haven't been brilliant. I don't think Watty Glen have been brilliant. A lot of misplaced passes, a lot of chances sort of going under the, dropping short and everything else. So, yeah, like there we have it. Half-time, Kilmacud Crokes 1-4, Watty Glen 1-3. You would have to say so far that Crokes have been the better side, but haven't been anywhere near their best either. It must be said. Crokes have had, 4, 5, 6 wides in the game. Glen have been unusually poor as well. And yeah, like it just hasn't been, what we've expected from a Kilmacud Crokes perspective. But at the same time, Glen starting very, very fast with that early goal from Danny Talon. Brilliant finish. The first goal Kilmacud Crokes have conceded since the Dublin Club semi-finals. And, which really puts things into perspective with how well Watty Glen have done, with getting that early goal. And they start fast, like obviously get themselves a couple of points from Danny Talon. Emma Bradley gets a brilliant score as well, but they mustn't have scored since maybe what must be the 15th minute, maybe. Their last score was on the 14th minute. So they went the final 16 minutes plus injury time without a score there. And, Kilmacud Crokes sitting 4 without reply. Walsh, Tom Fox, Shane Cunningham, and McGovern all getting on the score sheet. And yeah, quite a slow performance in the end from Darragh Mullen got the point, by the way, not Tom Fox. What am I saying? I'm mixing everything up. Too many players to keep an eye on. But yeah, Shane Walsh, Darragh Mullen, Shane Cunningham, and Dan O'Brien all getting on the score sheet. I was right the first time there, looking at a scoring app who we shall not say. I don't know. But anyway, 1-4 to 1-3 to Kilmacud Crokes at half-time. Curious to know what people's opinions are at half-time. Probably not a lot to discuss really in that half. I mean, Darragh Mullen, super impressive. Very, very good. I think he's been the best player so far. Shane Walsh obviously gets a goal from a penalty, but hasn't really been involved too much in the game. Dropped an effort short. Paul Mannion, you can clearly see some rustiness there. I think he's had 3 opportunities to score. 2 of them have gone wide. 1 of them hit the post from a free as well. And it just hasn't been, hasn't been his day so far. But, the game is definitely there for Kilmacud Crokes so far, you'd have to say. But from a Watty Glen perspective, they definitely do need to improve. We will put some lights on the subject and then we'll be back with you. I was on mute there. Apologies. Test case says, what do you think about the club hurling final? Yeah, like, I mean, what an effort from Dunloy. I mean, they performed really, really well, in fairness to them, up until the final 10 minutes. And, Ballyhale Shamrocks were nowhere near their best. I think that goes without saying. They probably didn't need to be at their best, realistically. Didn't need to be at their brilliant best. But, it was in the final 10 minutes really that they pulled away. Owen Cody, what a sensational performance from him. I mean, he scored 1-5. You know, I was discussing it all on the match reaction that's should be up on the channel there. But yeah, like a very, very good performance from Owen Cody, it must be said. Like definitely one of the best hurlers in the country, in my opinion. You know, he's probably underrated in terms of he doesn't get rated in the same bracket of the likes of TJ Reid, Desi Hutchinson, Aaron Glen, you know, these guys. And maybe he doesn't do it on a consistent enough basis. Maybe that's the issue there. But, you know, sensational performance from him. And Ballyhale Shamrocks, although they weren't their brilliant best, they've now won 3 of the last 4 All-Irelands, and I think have to be in the conversation as one of the greatest club teams of all time, in my opinion. Tom says, can only see it going one way now, and I presume he means in the way of Kilmacud Crokes. Hit the final 4 points of hit the final 3 points of that first half, and obviously got a goal as well. I think they hit 1-3 without reply after M. Bradley score, so that really sort of turned the tide on the game. And a lot of work to be done. I mean, you can see Glen, like they're just showing on TG Cahar, like they worked that ball into Danny Talon, you know, that sort of direct ball in there. You can see Glen trying to do that time and time again, but the accuracy of the pass just hasn't been there. And as a result, you know, Kilmacud Crokes have been able to get possession back far too easily at times, in my opinion. Glen, way too many turnovers. Giving away too many turnovers, definitely, must be said. I mean, they've won a few turnovers of themselves as well, but they just haven't taken advantage of it. You know, they've given possession back to Glen, and you know, I think either side of that half time in the first half has been poor. Like, I don't think either team has really been at the races. I think it probably has been a poor enough final so far. And I think the scoreline probably reflects that. I mean, 4 points for Kilmacud Crokes, 3 for Watty Glen. You know, like, and it hasn't been super cagey, really. Like, I think it's just been lacking in quality, really. Glen dominating the first part of the first half. Crokes the second part. It felt like, you know, Glen were brilliant for the opening 15 minutes. I mean, they scored 1-3 in their opening 15 minutes, and Kilmacud Crokes scored 1-3 in the last 15 minutes. So I think you're spot on there, you know, and Crokes will have the momentum at the start of the second half. I think it's good. Like, Crokes can count their lucky blessings at the same times, because they've been nowhere near at the races, but yet they go in a point up a half time. And, you know, watching that first half nearly reminded me a bit of the Dublin Mayo 2016 All-Ireland final, the game, the first one that finished in a draw, where I think Dublin went in a half time with 2-1 or something like that, and it was 2 on goals, and like, we were nowhere near at the races that day, and Mayo were by far the better side, but somehow we went a point up, you know, a point in a half time. You know, and sometimes these things can happen where 2 teams just don't get going. You know, that day Mayo's forwards didn't really get going until the second half, but similar enough here. But obviously second half will be here in about 5 or 10 minutes or so, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But yeah, let me know your predictions for the start of the second half. Haaland with the hat-trick in the end. That's impressive stuff. Good for the fantasy team. Very good for the fantasy team, actually, it must be said. But yeah, what am I saying? Yeah, I will be doing a live watch along every weekend. I'll do one every weekend that the National Football League is on. I probably won't do one for any of the Hurling League games. Maybe the Hurling League final I might do one, but the Hurling League just doesn't particularly interest me that much, to be honest. I'll definitely do plenty of streams around the time of the championship, the All-Ireland Hurling Championship, when it comes around, but I do think the Hurling League's usually a lot of shadow boxing, and there's just not a lot sort of on the line there. But in terms of football, we'll be doing a stream once every weekend. I think I'm going to do Mayo versus Galway next week. I think that's the game that's on RTE as well, and probably the game that most people will realistically be watching as well. And obviously, if Dublin versus Kildare, that's on at 5 o'clock. I think that's going to be on GAA Go. So I'm excited to watch Dublin in Division 2. Happy days. Might even be a double header actually on RTE maybe. Now that I think about it, but we'll obviously have to wait and see there. But yeah, we'll be doing one live watch along per week. Mostly Division 1 games, but we will do a few Dublin games maybe as well. But I think I'll probably only do a live stream for the big Dublin games, maybe the one against Derry or Meath or something like that. I probably will go to a good few of them as well, in fairness. But yeah, a couple of minutes now away from the start of the second half. Just waiting for the second half to start now because there's really not much more else to say, really, other than Crokes of both sides have been fairly average, it must be said. Watty Graham's Glen have started the better, and will probably be kicking themselves as well. There was a stage in those opening 15 minutes where they didn't take advantage. They didn't put the nail in the coffin. They could have went 5-6 points up, and 5-6 point lead to defend in an All-Ireland final, a Derry club team as well. They'll grind their way through that every way possible. And to lose it in the way that they did, conceding the All-Ireland, or conceding the penalty as well, they'll be disappointed. But just looking at the attendance there, 22,890. Just looking at the TG card there, they'll be showing Donegal Kerry next weekend. Roscommon Tyrone. I don't know if they're showing all those games, or maybe that's just a highlights show potentially. But just looking at some of the stats there on TG Car, 64% possession for Kilmacud Crokes shows that they're very, very dominant. Out of scoring chances, 5 chances converted out of 14, which tells you how wasteful Crokes have been in front of goal. 4 chances converted out of 6 for Watty Graham's Glen. So Glen not creating enough chances, losing the ball, being forced to turn the ball over. Unforced turnovers a lot of the time as well. A lot of the time they've just given the ball away. But you would look at it as well and say, you look at that statistics of Crokes where they have, they've converted 35% of their opportunities in front of goal, and one of them was a penalty. So really, Glen will be looking at it and thinking, we've really, really missed the opportunities. Tom says, don't think RTE cover live Division 2. Yeah, they didn't last year, and obviously none of the big TV outlets covered Division 2 last year. But the fact that Dublin are in there, they might cover them. They should really cover Division 2, Division 3, Division 4. All the divisions should be covered realistically. But because Dublin are in there and they know that people will watch it, there's obviously a big population pool in Dublin. And there's obviously a large GAA presence within Dublin, so they know they probably will get the figures. Like Dublin Meath, people will watch that, I think. Dublin Derry, people will watch that. But we'll see. Probably a lot of them going to be on GAA Go, probably. Just waiting to get going at the start of the second half. Running through the scores again for Kilmacud Crokes. Shane Walsh with a goal, Darragh Mullen, Shane Cunningham, and Craig Diaz, and Dan O'Brien all on the score sheet there. And for Watty Graham's Glen, Danny Talon with 1-1, and we do have Alex Doherty, who got himself a score, and I think it might have been Emmett Bradley with the other point. Sosta says, "Is GAA Go worth it?" I've no idea. Like I did have a GAA Go annual pass during the during COVID, because they were obviously showing a lot of the games there. And I think I can't remember how much it was in the end. It is very expensive, in fairness. It's probably going to be more expensive now because of cost of living and all that crack. And they're probably going to be showing less games, so probably not worth it, to be honest. But I think I might have a look maybe during the week and see what games are going to be on there, and kind of have a look and think, is it actually worth getting like an annual pass or something like that? Because I obviously do want to watch as many games as possible, covering, on this channel and everything else. So, but yeah, we're underway for the start of the second half. Glen going direct again, straight from the kick out, but nothing doing this time around. But Kilmacud Crokes give the ball away straight away back to Conor Glass. I'm on the fence myself. Yeah, I think a lot of us are, to be fair. I'm definitely on the fence as well. Because there's a lot to be paying nowadays, and to whack on GAA Go as well. You just don't know if it's really worth it, but I suppose we'll see. Second half underway anyway. Both teams giving the ball away within minutes, so looked like a bit of an incident there involving Theo Clancy and Danny Talon, but just a shoulder in the end. I think at best it's a yellow card if the referee seen it. Not too sure if he did see. I think the referee might have just given a free in the end, to be fair. Here come Crokes now, going down the other end. Keeping possession. They will try slow the game down, you feel, as much as possible, really, because there's no rush really from their point of view. I mean, they have 1-4, obviously in the bank already. They're a point up. Glen are probably going to sit back and be ultra defensive, as one would expect. So Kilmacud Crokes going to be calm in possession, but there is an opportunity that's opened up here. Maybe a chance for a goal. Good save there, but a goalkeeper in the end might have just really sort of hit him. Comes off Bradley more so. I'm not too sure who had the chance. Good bit of play from Crokes. They open up Glen really for the first time. They sort of opened them up for a goal chance from play, and it was Aidan Jones in the end who had the opportunity. Very good stop from Bradley in between the sticks, and stays at 1-4 to 1-3, but it will go out for a 45. Be interesting to see who takes this, because as we've seen, Walsh missed the first one, missed a chance right in front of the goal, dropped it short, and then Paul Mannion missed one. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here now. Who takes this one? You wonder, is there a bit of pressure maybe sort of creeping in between the two lads, because both have been at free takers a lot of the time, but it is going to be Walsh who's going to take this one. You would expect him to put it over and get his first point of the final, and he does. He puts it over. Shane Walsh with his first point of the final. 1-1 now from him, and Kilmacud Crokes open up a 2-point margin. Didn't get a huge amount of distance on it, but he comfortably slotted over the bar in the end, you would say. So Crokes with the 2-point advantage, and they're still turning Watty Glen over from these kickouts, and they come marching forward again, and possibly might maybe be in for making this a 3-point game. Here goes Craig Diaz on the ball. Back into, is that Mannion, I think? It is Paul Mannion. Look at that. Brilliant control, but he loses possession. Glen turned him over. And they'll be the ones now looking to... They need to score here, Watty Glen, because they haven't scored since the 14th minute of the game. So they need to get on the score sheet here. They need to really sort of get off the mark. But again, they're trying to run it through the middle. They get a little bit lucky there. A little bit of fortune. Looked like Glass maybe was the one fouled. And here come Glen now in possession with Danny Talon. He's the man you want on the ball in these type of positions. But the space just doesn't really seem there. There doesn't seem to be anyone really inside. They're trying to run it through. Did they win it free? It looks like they did. Again, maybe a little bit fortuitous, but this should be an opportunity now for Glen to get on the score sheet, you would feel. And look like foul coming in there from Theo Clancy, and it is going to be Danny Talon standing over this. You would fully expect him to put this one over the bar. And he does. Fantastic point there from Danny Talon. Puts it over the bar, down to a 1-point game again. And that's the good thing for Glen, is that although, you know, Kilmacud Crokes have been largely dominant in terms of possession, turnovers, creating chances, you know, that early burst from 1-3 puts them in a good stead, and they win a kick out. They win an opposition kick out, which is massive from a Watty Graham's Glen point of view. Can they capitalise now on this bit of momentum? And that's a chance there. That was an opportunity, a bit of a balloon shot in the end, and I think that might be Glen's first or second wide, but a fantastic catch from Emmett Bradley from the kick out. They eventually work the opportunity in, but well wide of the target. First change of the game there, Stevie O'Hara coming on for Conor Convery, I should say. And yeah, look, I mean, it hasn't been the most exciting final in the world, but it's still evenly contested, and it's still going down the wire, isn't it? So I think that's the most important thing. Here comes Darren Mullen. Looks like he might have dropped the short. I think it was going wide anyway. It's going to be odd for Walsh and Mannion if Galway and Dublin play each other at some point after this. And could happen. I mean, I think Leinster and Connacht are fixed to play each other in the Connacht semi-finals, or in the All-Ireland semi-finals, Leinster and Connacht. But I think obviously, I don't know what way it's going to work with the group stages, whether that still applies. But you could possibly have a Dublin-Galway All-Ireland semi-final, and who knows, maybe could play each other in the in the group stages as well, or whatever may be, quarterfinals maybe even. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it probably will be a bit odd, most definitely. I can't think of too many other like high-profile club players going up against each other, like in a big All-Ireland game, like for two separate counties. Probably rarely happens. But there you go. It was Mullen there racing forward on the ball, but loses possession, and Glen have it back now. Question is, can Glen get back into this game, get themselves a score? Kilmacud Crokes haven't scored in the second half so far, I don't think. Or no, they have actually. Sorry, Shane Walsh scored. But they haven't scored from play. But neither of Watty Graham's Glen. So no points from play so far in the second half, and Glen slowing the game down, taking this thing out of Kilmacud Crokes. This is what they do. We've seen them do it against Mike Cullen. And you get the feeling that this second half will be very, very cagey, and a mark call there in the end from Alex Doherty. And this will be a chance for Watty Graham's Glen to level the game. And I think that's wide. Or has he put it over the bar? No, he's put it over the bar. He's put it over the bar. Great score there from Alex Doherty. Looked on the TV that it maybe went wide, but maybe it was just a camera angle, or I'm blind, one or the other. But Alex Doherty puts it over the bar, and Watty Graham's Glen are level. So they've hit two without reply. It's weird. Like, Glen are doing better on Crokes kickouts, but Crokes are doing better on Glen kickouts. And like, it's two teams that love pressing up on opposition kickouts, and both are getting a lot of joy from it. And I think that's why we've seen Glen have their period of dominance, scoring 1-3 without reply. Crokes then came back and hit what was 1-4 without reply in the end with Walsh's point. And now Glen have hit 2 points without reply. So, the flow of dominance in this game is really sort of going back and forth. And here come Glen going forward now. Emmett Bradley plays it in. This could be an opportunity. Could they go for the goal? But they take the point, and Glen back in front in this one. And that is a score there from Danny Talon, a brilliant, brilliant score. And Watty Glen in front in the All-Ireland final. And I mean, look, we're seeing Glen do very, very well on Crokes' kickouts, and they've just won another one again. You know, it's funny, really, like when Crokes can get the ball up at the other end of the field and start scoring points and force Glen into kicking the ball out, they then start turning them over. So, yeah, like you get the feeling Crokes just maybe need to try play it short quickly, look for a short option somewhere there, because Glen are getting a lot of joy now all of a sudden, and they do lead by a point. And here they go again. A bit more space has opened up. And another score there. They've gone 2 points in front now. Another fantastic point from Watty Glen. And what a brilliant, brilliant score there in the end. Jason Doherty, I think it is there with the score. And Watty Glen now 2 points, 2 to good. Kilmacud Crokes, who, I mean, it sort of came out of nowhere. Like, Crokes were so dominant. 2 points to the good. Glen hadn't scored for about, must have been 25, nearly 30 minutes. And all of a sudden, they've hit about 4 points without reply. And Glen now have themselves in a very, very healthy position, in my opinion, because they're 2 points up, but they hit the crossbar there. You look away for a minute, and all of a sudden, Kilmacud Crokes nearly had an opportunity there. Someone hit the crossbar. And this is this game. The second half has come alive a bit more. It's another poor wide there from this time from Diaz. I think Crokes might have got the free, but Crokes have been very uncharacteristic in their shooting in this game, and it's been very, very surprising. You know, they just haven't really been at it. Like, Walsh has been very quiet. That opportunity there, I couldn't see who it was running through, but the fisted hand pass obviously hits the bar. I think Crokes have maybe missed, you know, I think they've only converted maybe 6 out of 17 opportunities in this game. But here goes Paul Mannion. It looks like they're rotating on frees, and Mannion this time does put it over. He gets his first score of the All-Ireland final, and Kilmacud Crokes reduce the deficit down to a point. And now it'll be interesting to see on Watty Glen's kickouts. Do Crokes now start dominate, or can Glen get the upper hand here? That's going to be interesting. Looks like Glen do have the ball, but have they been turned over? It looked like they may have been done, but the referee's called a foul. And it's down to Watty Glen now, and they go direct again, but probably giving away possession a little bit loosely. You can see what they're trying to do there. They're trying to get that ball into Danny Talon, much like they did in the first all in the opening sequence of the game. But here comes Crokes now. I mean, this is evenly matched, very, very evenly matched. Could, you know, extra time could possibly happen here. You know, there's a lot of likelihoodness of extra time happening. If Crokes got another score there, it looks like they have. They've leveled the game. Shane Cunningham giving the fist pump to the crowd there as well. Crokes back finding their scoring touch in this second half, and that's a good score there from Shane Cunningham. It's their first point of the second half from play, and we are level in the second half, 1-7 apiece. Really good score there from Shane Cunningham. And as I was saying, you know, Glen had their period of dominance, and now Crokes are having their period of dominance all of a sudden. It seems to be swinging in roundabouts, really. Here come Crokes again, trying to play it into Jack Doherty. Was there a foul in the build-up? It looks like there might have been. You can see what they're trying to do. Like, Jack Doherty's making that direct run through the middle, and you know, they're getting into some good positions. They're getting into some good positions, Watty Glen. And can they work a score here? They just need to be calm in possession, really, and not waste the chances. But But yeah, here's Conor Glass. Hasn't scored so far in the final. I mean, he's done a lot of great work from kickouts and everything else, but you probably would say he's been fairly quiet. And here he is now, Conor Glass. Plays it into one of the wing backs venturing forward. That looks to be a foul, or is it over carrying? I think it might have been. It's a foul. It's a foul. So this is a big chance here for Danny Talon to get another point in this game. And you would expect him to put it over from here, surely. You can see there, brilliant bit of work there by Glass. Gets a bit of a knock in the head for his troubles there. And you can see how much it means to Watty Glen at this stage, cheering every turnover, celebrating, the small wins. And this should be over the bar. And it is over the bar. And it's actually Emmett Bradley who's taken that, puts it over. A very, very good score in the end from Emmett Bradley from the free. And Watty Glen go in front, 1-8 to 1-7. And it's going back and forth. It's very evenly contested now all of a sudden. Very evenly contested. And, 14 minutes to go, plus probably not much injury time. Much injury time, you'd say. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes, but not much, you'd say. Brilliant there from Emmett Bradley, who wins the kick out. Glen are getting a lot of joy now on the opposition kickouts. Heavy challenges comes in there, but nothing doing. And Glen now in possession. Whoa, knocking things left, right, and centre here. I think that might have been the TV remote, but we don't need to worry about that until later. And here they are now in possession with Ryan Dugan, I think, on the ball there. Drops it short, couldn't take the advantage. Crokes in possession. Good amount of pressure, and Crokes now need to be calm and work it upfield. I have to say, this game is there for Glen, and there's poor again from Crokes, a loose pass from Conor Ferris. Lackadaisy at the back, Kilmacud Crokes, and Glen really taking the advantage. Chance opens up for a point. He surely must score. He does score. It's a fantastic point there. This time it is Conor McGuckian who puts it over the bar, and Watty Glen are 2 points in front with about 13 minutes to go. And the game is there for the Derry champions. They could win their first All-Ireland. Crokes have been poor in front of goal. They just haven't been at it today. They haven't been at it at all. And, they might go on to win the game because of their individual brilliance that they have. But you would have to say that Watty Glen, they have this game here for them, in my opinion. But here come Crokes now, going down the other end with Darragh Mullen. Look to have dropped it a little bit short, but it does go over the bar. Fantastic response there from Watty Glen, or from Kilmacud Crokes. Fantastic point from Darragh Mullen. Puts it over the bar. Very, very comfortable. And Kilmacud Crokes now back to within a point, and it's going back and forward. And it could be a long L evening. We might miss the Arsenal Man United match, but who wants to see that? Who wants to watch that realistically? And here they come now. Jack Doherty, he's played it in. This is a big chance. Is he going to go for the goal? Oh, he slipped as he was going to take the chance. He could have probably taken the point. I'm not too sure who that was, but that was a big chance. He had Jack Doherty to his right as well. He could have potentially put a 4-point gap with about 10 minutes to go. That would have been crucial. A big opportunity opened up, but he didn't take it. And it stays now at a 1-point game. And now Kilmacud Crokes are in possession. You have Conor Glass getting the challenge in there. It looks like the ref has called a foul. I didn't really see much of that, to be honest. We'll have to see the replay here. But here is the chance again. Glen are through, and yeah, he just slips. He just loses his footing as he's going through. I think it was one of the substitutes who came on there. Number 19, who was that again? I've no idea. I have no idea. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know. Trying to see who it was, maybe. I don't know. But he loses his footing either way, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Tom says it's turned into a game. It has, yeah. And I think just, both sides now, at least when Glen have the lead, Crokes are replying, they're responding, they're finding the answer. And here goes Shane Walsh. Walsh and Mannion rotating on the freeze, and Walsh makes no mistake. And Kilmacud Crokes, who were 2 points down, looked a little bit in trouble, found a response of their own. And Kilmacud Crokes and Watty Glen level 1-9 apiece going into the final 10 minutes here. And yeah, 1-9 apiece. Just looking on the Score BO app to see who that substitute was, but it's not coming up for me, unfortunately. But it is 1-9 apiece. 1-9 apiece. Big kick out now for Glen. The kickouts are nearly like points at this stage, and it does look like they've lost it. And Crokes are on possession. And here goes Shane Walsh taking on Michael Warnock. He goes around and plays it in. There's another chance for Kilmacud Crokes, who look to have put it over the bar. They haven't. An opportunity goes wide there. And it was one of the Kilmacud Crokes substitutes who puts it wide there in the end. Might have been Tom Fox, potentially. So there we have it. 1-9 apiece going into the final 9 minutes. If there is a delay in me updating the score, I do apologise, but trying to do it all by myself is a little bit tricky at the best times, and you're also trying to watch the game, but I will do my best in regards to that. But 1-9 apiece, and Kilmacud Crokes now in possession again. They have brought on the likes of, I think, Keane O'Connor and whatnot has come on here, and they've made a couple of changes. And, Crokes probably do have a stronger bench. You think back to last year, when they needed players to get them over the line in the closing minutes, they found answers through the likes of Keane O'Connor, through the likes of Tom Fox. And, I think it probably was the right decision in the end for Robbie Brennan to start offloading the bench and bringing players on, because, Crokes just haven't been at the shooting range today. Shooting ranges. But, it could be a moment of brilliance, a moment of madness that wins this game. You had Conor Glass there being surrounded by both Ben Shovlin and Craig Diaz. Diaz looked to have gotten his hand on the ball there. I mean, it looks a clean enough challenge to me, but it was a heavy enough hit, but he did get his hand on the ball, to be fair. I think that's a bit of a harsh yellow. And here goes Bradley going forward now for Glen. Plays that ball in. Glen, to be fair to them, they're not, they're not slowing the game too much. They are looking for the winner here. They are trying to play on the front foot. They're not trying to take this thing out, and they play it in here. There could be another chance for a goal. He just needs to take the point. But the gap is narrowed. But there's still an opportunity here. Was that a double hop? I'm not too sure if it was, but Crokes have turned it over, and he just, there was a moment there where he could have fisted the ball over the bar. He didn't do so, and Crokes now have the ball. And, Glen are getting in behind Crokes. They're getting in behind, and they're getting chances, but, I think at times it's almost like they're caught between, should we go for goal, should we go for the point, and maybe overthinking it, and in the end coming up with nothing. So yeah, but here come Crokes now, going down the other end. Edge of the seat stuff here in the final 5 minutes. Extra time. Very possible. I think it's a replay after extra time, I believe. Might even be a replay after full time, actually. I'm not 100% sure on that, actually. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. But I think it does go to extra time and then a replay, I think. But I don't think it goes to penalties. I think penalties maybe is for the replay. But we'll see. We'll see what happens anyway. Either side have it within them to win this game in normal time. it's all about who can hold their nerve, who can take their opportunities here, because both teams are creating chances. It's all going to be about who can take that chance. And a bit of space is opened up here for Kilmacud Crokes. They go for it, but it does go over the bar. It does go over the bar. A fantastic point there from the substitute. I think that's Cian O'Connor who gets the score. The yellow and purple flags raising, and that is a fantastic score there from the substitute. And Watty Glen go behind. Kilmacud Crokes back in front. And, you know, Watty Glen went 2 points in front. You were thinking, this is their day. This is their All-Ireland. But all of a sudden, Kilmacud Crokes have hit a couple of scores, and their bench has made a significant impact. And it is 110 to 1-9 going into the final 5 minutes. And this bit of possession now for Watty Glen is very, very important, because, you know, they can't lose the ball here, because when Kilmacud Crokes get the ball now, they'll probably try slow it down themselves. You know, they'll try take that sting out. They'll try slow the game down, try shave a couple of minutes off the clock. So, you know, Glen mightn't get too many opportunities, but they do win the foul. Do they have someone here who can kick from this type of distance? Could it be Emmett Bradley? Could it be Danny Talon maybe? 1 point between it. And Luke Ward now coming on for Shane Cunningham. So another substitute. Kilmacud Crokes really emptying the bench. And I think that is where Crokes do have the advantage in my opinion. 1 point between the teams. 3 minutes to go. I mean, it's edge of the seat stuff. I think if you're a Watty Glen supporter or you're a Kilmacud Crokes supporter, you're watching on here, because, you know, Crokes have been here before. They were here last year, and they had an even bigger lead last year in extra time and couldn't see the game out, you know. So Glen know they have an opportunity. Nearly fell off my seat myself there. Glen in possession, just waiting for the opportunity. Conor Glass in a bit of space, does have Diaz behind them. Glen being very calm on the ball. It's a risky pass, and Kilmacud Crokes have turned it over. And could they potentially hit them on the counter-attack? I think Darren Mullen has probably made the most of that there, really, to be honest, in that challenge from Danny Talon. It is a yellow card, possibly actually you could say a black card, because he has actually stopped them in venturing forward. I hope he doesn't give him a black card, because I think that ruins the game, to be honest with you. But is he going to give him yellow or black? He's going to give him yellow. That's I think that's right decision. Right decision there by the referee. You could argue a black card, because like he was stopping an attack there, wasn't he, with the raised arm. But I don't think it was enough to take him down. I think Mullen probably knows there that, you know, go down, take a couple of minutes off the clock here, and, you know, close the game out. Paul Gunnings come on there for Alex Doherty, or for Jack Doherty, or for Alex Doherty, I should say. Maliki O'Rourke watching on. They just need one chance, and they need to turn the ball over here. And we know Crokes are going to try slow the game down as much as possible. But very, very close now to their first All-Ireland since 2009, I believe it was. I might double check that actually to make sure. But here they go now. Kilmacud Crokes, a bit of space opens up. That's definitely a foul, and this will be a chance to bring it down to a 2-point game. And a big, big opportunity now for Kilmacud Crokes. Just looking at it there, it was 2009 the last time they won the All-Ireland. The last time a Dublin team won an All-Ireland was 2016. at club level, obviously. So, yeah, there's going to be a card coming out. Could be a black here. No black here. Yellow card for Conlon McGuckian. But yeah, and Crokes will take their time with this free here. I mean, Walsh won't be in any rush whatsoever here. And he's going to put this one over, surely. And could that be a story? If Glen go down the other end and get a score and it finishes 111 to 110, it could be Walsh's point that won the All-Ireland for Kilmacud Crokes, and that will be quite the story. He puts it over, as expected. Puts it over the bar, and Kilmacud Crokes go into a 2-point advantage. And look, we seen Kilmacud get that last-minute goal a year ago. We've seen what they done. They need to win this kick-out, and they don't. And Glen need to win the ball here, and I think they need to get a goal as well. I think they need a goal. They really do need a goal here. Sosta says it's over. I mean, we thought that last year until Kilmacude's goal, but you would expect Mannion to put this one over. And I think he's put it wide. It is wide, yeah. So Glen will have one last chance here. One last chance, all or nothing. And they need to win the kick out. And they've played it straight down centre. Clever decision. And here is Danny Talon, I think, on the ball there, who probably had to drop deep to win that kick out. Glen on possession. They've got 1 minute now. 1 minute to do it. Kilmacud Crokes were in this position last year against Kilmacud and they couldn't hang on. Can they do it? It's a bit of a hopeful ball in there. Oh, goodness me, saved it. What an opportunity. It nearly happened again. It's a ball in. It just bounces around. I'm not too sure who it fell to. It might have fell to Conor Glass. Of all people, Conor Glass had the opportunity. He didn't really connect on it. It's a fantastic save from Conor Ferris. An All-Ireland winning save right there. And Conor Glass, watching on, cannot believe it. They have to put this ball in now. They have to put this in. They can't go for the points because they don't have enough time. I don't think they'll have enough time here. They have to just put this in the square and hope that it goes in. That something happens. Kilmacud Crokes have massively got away with one there. What an opportunity. And what a save in the end by Conor Ferris. Crokes have made a late change. They brought Conor Casey on. They've played it in. It nearly didn't work out. And they played in again, and it nearly crept in. It has gone wide, and I think that will be the final whistle. I don't know if there's anything left to play here. Oh, it nearly crept in. I think it was Jack Doherty who nearly got something on it. Does he allow one more kick out? Does he allow one more ball? Or does he just blow it? I think he probably just blows it here. I don't know. I don't think, I don't think there's anything left. And now they're making a substitution. Darren Mullen going off. Just wind the clock down that bit more. And there we go. Full-time whistle. Kilmacud Crokes, All-Ireland Club Football Champions. 111 to 19 is how it finishes. Kilmacud Crokes get the job done. All-Ireland champions. Tom says, what a save. And what a save it was from Conor Ferris in the end. Kilmacud Crokes deliver. They get what they came to do after losing the All-Ireland to Kilmacud last year. The big focus for them was to win the All-Ireland, was to get back what they lost last year. The heartbreak that they would have suffered in that All-Ireland final last year, having conceded that late goal to Kilmacud. And you think it nearly happened again. I mean, Conor Glass with that chance of all people. What a story that would have been if Glass had put that in the back of the net. But it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be from Watty Graham's Glen point of view. Saved in the end from Conor Ferris. And what a story in the end for Kilmacud Crokes. And, how romantic is it in the end? Whether you want to call it romantic, whether you want to call it controversial, that the final point of the game was scored by none other than Shane Walsh of Kilmacud Crokes. And you've got Paul Mannion in tears watching on the sideline. His first All-Ireland at club level. I don't think he was involved in 2009. Maybe he was. I can't quite remember. But a huge, huge moment for Kilmacud Crokes to get the victory in a game that, to be honest, was probably not the best game. Neither side, I don't think, were at their absolute best. Neither side played at their absolute best. You think of Kilmacud Crokes in the first half and those missed opportunities and those missed chances. In the first half, they had 5 chances converted out of 14. They were really, really slow out of the blocks. Obviously, that early goal from Danny Talon set the tone for Watty Graham's Glen. And they start fast, and they were getting into the right spaces. They were getting into the right opportunities. Watty Graham's Glen. It was just a time that final ball, that final pass was letting them down, and you could see the nerves were there for both sides. You could see the nerves were there for Kilmacud Crokes, in particular in the first half. Walsh dropping an opportunity short, I remember, from a free that was very uncharacteristic of him. Mannion hit the post. You could see there was a clear bit of rustiness. And Darren Mullen, as I'm seeing here, wins man of the match on TG Cahir, and absolutely rightly so. Sensational performance from him. 2 points, but he was setting up scores. He was winning the track and back. And, I think you could arguably make a case that Darren Mullen is potentially Club Footballer of the Year. I think he could really, really be in the conversation. I mean, people might look at Shane Walsh as Club Footballer of the Year. I mean, Mannion's been injured since the Dublin quarterfinals. I don't think you can give it to him. Craig Diaz gets in the conversation. Conor Glass gets in the conversation. But in the end, you can't look past someone like Darren Mullen, who was absolutely sensational today. 2 points in total. And, his overall build-up and his support play was fantastic. And surely he comes into the Dublin side. And I think he should start as well. You put him in that half-forward line alongside Kieran Kilkenny and Brian Howard. If Noel Scully isn't available, you throw him in there. You have to, in my opinion. You really, really do. Maybe you play him in full forward line and, he drops back. I'm not sure, but he surely has to play some part. But yeah, running through the key events of the game, as I said, Danny Talon gets the opening goal. Crokes were very slow out of the get-go. A big burst right at the end of the first half, though. Darren Mullen getting on the score sheet. Shane Walsh with the penalty. Shane Cunningham was dragged back in the end by one of the Watty Graham's Glen defenders. I think it might have been Ryan Dugan, potentially, who might have dragged him back there. But Shane Walsh puts it in the back of the net. He gets off the score sheet. Darren Mullen, Shane Cunningham, and Dan O'Brien all getting on the score sheet. And Walsh gets another point at the start of the second half. And Crokes had built up a bit of a margin, and it looked like it was only going one way, and it was going the way of Kilmacud Crokes. But to be fair to Watty Graham's Glen, they gave it to Kilmacud Crokes. They went at them, they pushed them, they made it a tough game. And Danny Talon was getting in great spaces. Jack Doherty was getting a couple of points. Emmett Bradley and Conlon McGuckian were getting in good positions. And there was a moment they went 1-9 to 1-7 up, going into the final 10 minutes, and you thought it's on here for Watty Graham's Glen. The All-Ireland is on here for them, but Kilmacud Crokes, they found a way to turn it around. Keane O'Connor coming off the bench, making a huge impact. I thought their substitutes bench made a big impact. In general, Darren Mullen got a great point. Shane Walsh got on the score sheet as well. And Crokes found an answer. And Glen had opportunities. They got themselves into 1 or 2 goal chances. There was an opportunity where one of the substitutes, number 19, forgive me for not knowing his name, but he slipped as he was running through. He could have played it into Alex Doherty, or he potentially could have, taken a point there. A couple of other instances as well where they got themselves into some big chances. And, Conor Glass is that opportunity, which is saved by Conor Ferris. They get another chance as well where it's played in right at the death, and Jack Doherty tries to get on the end of it but can't. So in the end, Crokes have hung on by the smallest of margins. They owe a big thank you to Conor Ferris for making that save, and they get the job done. They get the win. Gavin says Shane Walsh won one of his 2 All-Ireland finals of 2022-2023. Yeah, huge moment for him. And I seen him consoling one of the, Watty Glen defenders when the full-time whistle blew. And, you'd have to say, what a year for Shane Walsh. What a 12 months it's been for him. I'm sure this time last year when he was watching Kilmacud Crokes play Kilcoo in the final, he could never have imagined being involved with Kilmacud Crokes 12 months later. And you would have to say that him playing for Crokes has made a huge difference in Kilmacud Crokes winning the All-Ireland. I mean, he probably didn't have his best game today, but you think back to the Dublin final, he was instrumental. A couple of other times, the Leinster final, he scored 9 points that day. But it is what it is. If he's working and living in Dublin, there can't be an issue with that. And yes, he might be a high-profile footballer, but I think that's just how it works. And he plays for Crokes. He's made a huge impact. He's delivered on the occasion for Kilmacud Crokes to win the All-Ireland, and deservedly so. Robbie Brennan watching on there as well. Massive for him, massive for him to get that All-Ireland. He obviously led them to the final last year. The heartbreak of losing the final, there's been obstacles thrown in his way. Mannion's injury this year was big. They had Walsh to slot in there and almost be a replacement, but massive moment for Kilmacud Crokes. And the question could be with the size of their club, with the resources that they have, the pull that they have in bringing Shane Walsh in, could Kilmacud Crokes now go on and dominate? Because they won the All-Ireland, or they almost won the All-Ireland last year. They won the All-Ireland this year. Realistically, the team that comes out of Dublin next year should be winning the Leinster Championship. That then puts them into the Final Four and thereabouts. So, Crokes potentially could go on and possibly dominate the All-Ireland. In my opinion, they really could. But yeah, Darren Mullen, man of the match, superb. From a Watty Glen point of view, Danny Tallon was very impressive. I felt at different times in the game. Glass superb on kickouts. I mean, it was interesting looking at the kickouts actually, because you were looking at it and seeing that Crokes were better on Glen's kickouts and Glen were better on Crokes kickouts. It was sort of interesting to see both sides pressing up on kickouts and playing quite similarly in many ways. But in the end, it was the smallest of margins, and Glen and Crokes were just that little bit more clinical, had obviously the better forwards, a few more options coming off the bench, and in the end it was absolutely crucial. But yeah, let me know your comments down below in the match reaction. Let me know your comments after the fact. What were your thoughts on the game? Who were your man of the match? And anyone who tuned into the live watch along, very much appreciated. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It will be live tonight at 8:30 with Matthew Hurley of the GAA Statsman. We'll be reviewing the 2 All-Ireland club finals that happened today, as well as did I just mute this? No, I didn't. As well as looking back through some pre-season results and Sigerson Cup and everything else, and discussing all the big talking points. So yeah, that's a wrap on the club season. Cheers anyone who tuned in. As I said, I'll be doing one watch along every weekend from now on throughout the National Football League, so make sure to tune into that as well, and make sure to check out other videos on the channel as well. So cheers anyone who tuned in. Massive congratulations to Kilmacud Crokes, who are All-Ireland club football champions. Commiserations to Watty Glen. A tremendous effort from them, it must be said. But Kilmacud Crokes are the All-Ireland champions. Cheers anyone who tuned in. See you later.